years, Triple H has become an even more integral part of the wrestling business, working both on screen and behind the scenes in critical roles. For a large part of his career, he was one of the most interesting wrestlers out there, defeating everyone he faced, and ruling during what many called the Reign of Terror. Before, he had been part of the Kliq, a backstage group that used their influence to make sure their friends dominated. He went from there to having a dominant run for most of the 2000s before finally taking a step back from in-ring action in the early 2010s. Since then, he has been involved with the development of WWE's NXT brand. Long before this, Triple H was involved in a return to wrestling after being out for 8 months with an injury. During that time, he was interviewed in quite a few places. This is Wrestling Up, and we're looking at everything Triple H said in his controversial interview on The Howard Stern Show. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Up and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Stern began by making Triple H feel more comfortable with a question about his diet, asking him how he managed to get so many muscles. Triple H explained it was a combination of eating right and working out, revealing he ate 400 to 500 grams of protein daily. He also said he was lucky in the sense that he was naturally lean, so he could eat more than normal people and not put on much weight. Stern and his crew were convinced Chyna was like a man and tried to provoke Triple H into saying something. Triple H answered their questions, revealing how he got into a relationship with her, admitting when he was traveling with WWE, there were a lot of women around. He went on to state he and Chyna became close when they started to work out together. Triple H remained classy in the face of questions about how Chyna seemed more like a man because she had so many muscles. He felt he had grown up around women who were bodybuilding, and it did not bother him. He said she was a large woman, but to him, she was not that big. He admitted the two were in a relationship for 4 years, having personalities that matched. Talking about his sex life, he said there was a lot of struggling and grappling for positions. Triple H denied she was manly in any way and went on to refuse the allegation that the two of them were engaged. He said he loved Stephanie McMahon and talked about how Vince would react if they broke up, and said he hoped Vince would not take it out on him. Triple H said he was in love with Stephanie, but there was a lot of back and forth about how Vince would react. He addressed how it became a thing where he was cheating on Chyna with Stephanie. He said there was a misconception about the way things ended with Chyna, saying the relationship had gone downhill and the two were separated. He thought they'd get back together, but it was not a full-blown relationship. As a result, he felt he was not cheating. He added that he was influential in a backstage position even before he was in a relationship with her. Triple H added there was a time when he had a briefcase full of love letters from Stephanie, and Chyna read them. He didn't go back home for a couple of hours after that because he was worried about how she would react. He had not talked with her since that time. His relationship with Stephanie, on the other hand, had began professionally, and then it became real. He also said they were not far enough along to marry, but they would eventually. Answering what his sex life was like with Stephanie and Chyna, he said he would not have been with them for as long as he was unless they were both good in bed. Triple H spoke about his injury and said he tore his left quad completely off the bone. He said thanks to repeated bumps, the muscles had been worn down, and this almost cost him his career. I tore my quad and it was a career-threatening thing. One day I was at the top of the business, and the next day I was in Birmingham, Alabama, being told I might be done. He said he was naturally worried heading back to the ring with the injury, because he knew there was always a chance to re-injure it. He joked about how Chyna bought a voodoo doll and tore the knee off the left leg, and that's why he was out. He also talked about how wrestling was not a safe business and that he saved his money and had to be safe. He stayed in Birmingham, Alabama, and during that time he used to stay in hotels and rehab at 10 to 12 hours a day. He went on to add that Stephanie was there for him when he was injured. He again addressed that he was not responsible for Chyna being released. He said they were at an impasse when it came to her contract, and it just happened to take place at the same time. No, the thing is, before this happened, she was in contract negotiations anyway, and they were kind of at an impasse. At the same time, this all came down and she decided not to re-sign, but they were kind of at an impasse anyway. He went on to address how he had not looked at Chyna's new Playboy photos as a result of them breaking up, but he added that he looked at her old ones and thought she looked beautiful. Despite provocation from Stern and his crew, he remained classy and refused to say anything bad about Chyna. Triple H was then asked what he thought about superfans as they brought in a fan who had been waiting to meet him. He said he knew there was a fan in Rhode Island who had the entire image of Triple H tattooed on his back, and that he had gotten used to it over the years. Triple H talked about the fan who came in and said he had changed his logo from the tattoo that he had of Triple H's logo on his arm. The fan said he wanted to write wrestling storylines when he grew up, and his parents thought he was an idiot. The fan had fun talking to Triple H and said he had a girlfriend who looked more like Stephanie than Chyna. They talked about Triple H's return and mentioned why he was returning even though he had enough money. He said he had always been a huge fan throughout his life and did not want to leave because of an injury. He said he wanted to wrestle and keep doing so for a long time. I was a huge fan and this was always what I wanted to do. When you love what you do and it was taken away from you, you want to get back to doing it. I didn't want to be taken out because a mistake happened or something like that. I want to go out when it's my time to go out. Tonight's gonna be huge. I'm glad the fans are looking forward to it, but it's gonna be an even bigger thrill for me to go out. Triple H definitely did not have to retire and went on to have an excellent run, winning multiple titles. Now backstage, he has become an even bigger force, becoming one of the most powerful in the wrestling world. And this was the flashback to Howard Stern's interview with Triple H. Hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.